So, as is the case with the mainstream media and their obsession with Russiagate, this seems to be a never-ending nightmare where they just obsess over the Russian bots and Russian trolls that are involved in supposedly overthrowing our elections and creating, sowing racial division, all that shit. And apparently now they're involved in doxing too. So that's another thing that the establishment is fear-mongering about. So this is an article from NBC News. It's like their technology news or something. And they did an article here talking about how Russian trolls apparently are doxing people, and they're creating like racial, that whole like racial division kind of thing. So I want to read you guys this this piece here. Obviously, as I said, I'm getting sick of this Russiagate stuff, Russiagate hysteria, but I needed to report on this because I thought it was important to give you guys an idea of where the mainstream media is going with this kind of propaganda. So let's check this out here. So the title of this piece is Russia-linked Twitter accounts promoted doxing over racial tension videos. Okay, let's check out the body here now. It says, in October 2018, a cell phone video of a Brooklyn woman calling 911 to claim a 9-year-old black boy grabbed her her ass, went viral on social media, becoming one of a series of videos that activists and journalists seized upon as an example of the everyday racism by minorities in America, faced by minorities in America. That woman became known as Cornerstone Caroline. Other individuals who became the subjects of similar stories would be known by nicknames such as Basketball Becky or Taco Truck Tammy. I don't know about those other two. I know about the Cornerstone Caroline. I didn't remember it being referred to as Cornerstone. Her name or nickname being referred to as Cornerstone Caroline. I do remember that incident though. It says, now Clemson University researchers have found those videos received instrumental early social media promotion from inauthentic accounts, some of which have since been removed by Twitter and linked by U.S. intelligence to Russia's efforts to stoke racial tensions in America. Okay. The tweets by the suspicious accounts drew 50 to 90% of the initial retweets before the stories took off, an indication their content played a leading role in drumming up attention according to the researchers' pre-publication findings. Darren Linville, an associate professor of communications, and Patrick Warren, associate professor of economics, both at Clemson, identified more than 300 tweets from almost 30 suspicious Twitter accounts that appeared to look for and promote videos of racial tense incidents. Fundamentally, what they're trying to do is put a spotlight and rub salt in the wound of these divisive issues, Linville told NBC News, referring to the strategy of using social media to exacerbate racial tensions. The accounts reposted or tweeted the videos, framed the content as explicit discrimination, used emotionally loaded language, and employed calls to action, including encouraging people to publish the participants' personal information, a strategy known as doxing. The October 2018 video was promoted by @BLK Hermione, Hermione, okay, an account that has since been suspended for platform manipulation, according to a Twitter spokesperson. The account encouraged others to retweet the video until someone recognized the woman. 9 minutes later, the account retweeted the woman's phone number, among the first to do so online. The coordinated activity began in early 2018 and appeared to peak in the run-up to the midterm elections later that year, the researchers found. It's clear in several examples that some of these stories would never have gone viral without the influence of Russian disinformation. 3 of the accounts the researchers analyzed were taken down by Twitter in 2018 and this year for being part of or having the characteristics of Kremlin-linked disinformation operations. Twitter confirmed it suspended other accounts reported by the researchers for platform manipulation. Twitter removed 3 of the accounts analyzed by the researchers for being part of potential foreign influence operations. The other 3 accounts they're referring to are Jemi Shah's, JEMISHAAAZZZ. Sounds like a little bit of a troll account. Could be. I don't know. But it's not Russian. But okay. And another one is Kani Jackson. KANI JACKSON. So 2 J's and then spelling Jackson. Maybe it's Kani J. Jackson, I guess. And the last one is Courtney Chante. QUARTNEYCHANTE. And then continuing on here, it says, disinformation experts told NBC News that the goal of the inauthentic accounts is to highlight and inflame existing tensions to destabilize America, a strategy also used by Russian disinformation campaign leading up to the 2016 election. Yeah, right. The real goal is to get the conflict off Twitter to get it to the streets. Philip Howard, director of the Oxford Internet Institute. Okay. The researchers said they placed the accounts as probably Russian in origin based on forensic analysis of account information and behavior that they shared with NBC News. A Twitter spokesperson said the company is fully committed to protect conversation around the 2020 elections and beyond. 3 stories that the accounts focused on followed a pattern. A video uploaded online showing a white person calling or threatening to call the authorities on a minority. The objects of the outrage were often given alliterative nicknames on the lines of Taco Truck Tammy or Basketball Becky. As the accounts promoted the videos, online outrage would build, along with calls to expose and promote the phone number, address, and other personal information of the person. Sometimes all the accounts added was a nudge, merely reposting a video and tweeting, "Twitter, do your thing." I've seen that too. I know people that I've seen multiple times on Twitter. Then they're still on Twitter right now that do that. So now they're going to try and get rid of those people now. Probably. It says some of the accounts tracked by the researchers were among the first group of accounts in conversation, providing a key early boost to a viral moment's lift, researchers say. The researchers, however, did not make any judgment on the veracity of the videos. In the case of Cornerstone Caroline, closed-circuit TV footage later showed the boy had accidentally made contact while walking past her. After the video racked up at least 18 million views and heaps of social media outrage, the woman Teresa Klein apologized. It says in at least one instance, one of the suspended accounts coined a nickname. In April, a Hispanic taco truck worker in Texas recorded and uploaded a video of a white woman threatening to call U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, which is ICE, after the truck was parked in front of her house. One of the suspicious accounts spotted by the researchers was the first to call her Taco Truck Tammy. Twitter, you know what to do. The account tweeted as it posted the video, which drew at least 16 million views and regional media coverage. Memes later shared the woman's full name, date of birth, phone number, and home address. The account is now suspended. According to the Clemson researchers' analysis, the suspicious accounts drew about half of the retweets of the encounter between the homeowner and the workers in the first 2 days. Despite takedowns by Twitter, the activity by the suspicious accounts continues. In July, inauthentic accounts spotted by the researchers helped the story of Basketball Becky to trend. I mean, listen, man, I've seen this kind of stuff happen forever. I've seen people that I still see on Twitter to this day doing these kind of things. It's not something that's totally outrageous and ridiculous and, not to be fair, doxing is not a good thing to do. I don't agree with doxing. I don't agree with people saying what the name of somebody is when we don't know what their name is. Now, I got accused of doxing after one of the town halls that featured Bernie Sanders, and I called out one of the people that was working for a lobbying group, a pro-Democrat lobbying group, where they asked a question about Bernie Sanders' supposed, I don't know, not supposed, but like the sexual assault that was going on in Bernie Sanders' campaign, and how he supposedly hasn't addressed it. And one of the people that asked the question, her name appeared on the screen, where she was, who she was working for, I believe, appeared, and I'm sorry, not who she went, where she went to school, I believe, appeared, and I pointed this out on. I pointed this out on Twitter, and I talked about how she got rid of her Twitter handle or her Twitter account, and she got rid of her Facebook account and stuff. And then people accused me of doxing her, even though her name was already on there, like I said, where she went to school was already on there and stuff like that. And apparently, she had already gotten rid of her Twitter account and other social media accounts before I ever even said anything. So people accusing me of doxing. I didn't dox anybody. I didn't dox the information that people didn't already know about, basically. So people already knew who this person was based on just CNN alone. CNN already put her name and all that stuff and whatever information about her, where she went to school and shit. So, if anything, the doxing, they shouldn't be, but is CNN accused, guilty of doxing somebody too? If, using the logic that I supposedly dox somebody, they should be accused of that too. So no, I don't agree with doxing. I don't agree with putting somebody's name out there that doesn't deserve to be exposed. However, the person did do a terrible thing. I just don't think that's something that should get them doxxed, because then it ends up possibly putting their families at risk, and possibly putting them at risk of some sort of violence or some sort of action being taken against them. At best, they should probably be sued or something for saying the terrible things that they say to somebody, or I don't know, receiving some sort of punishment. But I don't think they should be receiving. It shouldn't be receiving death threats. Shouldn't be receiving. Unless you do some sort of like violent attack and you put that person's life in danger, then I can understand defending that person that got attacked by attacking them. That's something that any normal person would do. But again, I don't know. I don't believe in violence though, so I'm not an advocate for violence. So I'm an advocate against violence, or anti-violence, and I'm pro peace and non-violence. So I don't think that's right, and I don't think it's right when people do that. However, this is not the work of Russians. This is not something Russians are doing. Like I said, I'm still already seeing that, from people. I see people doing that all the time. They're always, trying to dox or put this person's information out there and stuff too. And like I mentioned multiple examples of this happening, where it did, and it's not. Listen, when it comes to like people being exposed for doing shitty things, if they get exposed for it, that's one thing. Like, I'm just worried about the whole idea of doxing them, as like I said, getting their families and friends and shit involved. But if it involves them, then that's fine. To some extent, it's understandable to put them in that situation where they get put on blast, essentially. And when that happens, then you shouldn't have done that then, right? You shouldn't have done something fucked up in front of a camera and gotten yourself so much attention. I can post the article for you guys on in the description box, because I give several examples about how people have been doxxed when it was unnecessary, and also when it was possibly, some people feel it was necessary. And that's something that I wanted to kind of talk about and have a conversation with, and it seems like some people appreciated that. And but ultimately, when it comes down to it, all this stuff about Russians and fear mongering about people, the Russians doing all this stuff, it's baseless. It's totally baseless, and there is no proof behind it. It's just another way for people's free speech rights to be taken away. Because ultimately, when it comes down to like posting these things on Twitter or whatever, giving these nicknames to Twitter and stuff, aside from the doxing, which I don't agree with, but like exposing these accounts and saying like, oh, look what this person did, and like saying, this person did something fucked up, whatever. And then, the doxing up until the doxing point is, it's fine. But once it gets to the doxing part of it, it's not that good. But, the rest of it is fine, though. Like, exposing this person as saying something fucked up and doing something fucked up, there's nothing wrong with that. That's part of your free speech rights, right? And that person also has free speech rights to say what they want. But that doesn't mean that people don't have the rights to expose you when you do those things. And that's what people did. And to characterize it as this Russian plot is just typical fear-mongering and a way to restrict our free speech rights. And that's something I really, really care about, and I'm very, very passionate about. And that's why I consider myself a constitutional progressive, because I believe in the Constitution. I believe in everybody's free speech rights and having the ability to say what you want without being silenced and being told to shut up. And linking it to Russia and Putin and all this stuff is just, I'm so fucking sick of it. I'm so tired of these propagandists, these propaganda outlets. And this is why social media, that's why new media is getting bigger. New media like myself and Kyle Kalinske and Tim Black, Jimmy Dore, that's why we're getting bigger, because we're the people that are giving the actual commentary that people want to hear, not something from NBC News or CNN or, Fox News, all these bullshit channels that just spout misinformation and bullshit and, shill for the establishment. This is typical establishment, shilling and kind of doing their dirty work. They want to do the dirty work of these establishment types out there, so they can shut everybody up and put more surveillance on people too, and then start calling everybody Russian. That's why everybody getting called Russian is so fucking huge now among these Democratic loyalists. So everybody's a Russian and everybody's a this, and honestly, it comes off as very xenophobic too, which is crazy. And people are just like, well, if you're Russian, you must be a terrible person. Like, so anybody that's Russian is bad. That's how crazy it's become, and that's what it is. And I can't stand it. And I'm definitely somebody that's, calling these motherfuckers out and saying that what you're doing is not right, because ultimately what you're doing is not only fear-mongering, but you're also, you're marginalizing Russian people, literally Russian people. And anybody that's a Russian is can get criticized, not only criticized, can get, like I said, marginalized and treated as like a terrible person because they're Russian, and God forbid they're not, fully in support of the Democratic Party. Even if you're not Russian, you're called a Russian, and then you're like, oh, you don't love, whatever Kamala Harris or some Democrat stands for, you must be a Russian. I mean, it's so absurd. And this conversation has been taken to its, to its fucking dead end, and it's at a dead end. They still refuse to give up on it. Even after Russiagate was disproved, Robert Mueller found no evidence of actual Russia, interference or anything. All of it was just sending a bunch of memes and posting them on Twitter and shit, and now they're saying this is part of it, and this whole, like, doxing of people, all of a sudden, now everybody's a Russian now. I'm so fucking tired of this bullshit. The establishment is trying to silence us, and we need to fight back against that, and we can't allow this to happen.